So now we're going to keep going and we're going to look at data transformations. So one thing I want to look at is we're going to look at the New York Flights data set. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy my code from the R for Data Science book. And again, I'm going to do an R markdown. I'm going to call this, let's do NC Flights. Just so I know what data set I'm using. I'm going to do that. Or you could do data transformations or whatever you wanted to do. And we're going to quickly look at this data set. Again, I'm going to go up here. I'm going to get rid of all that. I'm going to put it here. And I'm going to put this as libraries. Okay. And then I close it. Remember, I do that, and you can keep that, or I like to keep it cleaner. I just do that, and then I hit knit. Oh, and I'm going to do, just so I have some of it saved. All right. Okay, so I have an issue. It says I don't have that data set. So I can go over here to package, go to install, and then I can do NYC Flights 13 and hit install. And there's another way you can do it from the command prompt. I always do it that way. So, all right, it's loaded. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here and I'm going to knit it again, and it's running for me. And there it is. So it shows me that it's been updated. All right, so now I want to go look at it, and that's where I'm going to go back to the book. So remember, I could do it where I could explore it like this to see what's going on. So one thing I can do is, I'm just going to do this. Let's put this word here. Let's do, okay, inspect data, because that's one of the first things I always want to do when I'm looking at a data set is to inspect it and see what it is. Let's see if that's going to let me bring it up, because I don't think. So I have a data set called flights. Okay. So let's see if that's going to let me do it. Oops, I got to call this right. So then I do that. Remember, and then I'm going to close it down. And then I knit it. Okay, so let's go see what I have. And again, what I do, layout, I change it. I do it this way. I change my layout to narrow so I can see it better. Hopefully it'll work in a second. All right, so it tells me I've got a tibble. And what a tibble frame is it's a data frame. And remember, we talked about data frames. Those are kind of like they're data that we don't really call them a file anymore. We call them a data frame, so that I don't have to copy it somewhere and look at it all the time. I can look at it in my screen. A tibble is like a data frame. It just has some very different minor changes. So flights. So let's look at it. I've got an integer for year. I've got month, and I've got day. So if I read this first line, it's 2013, January 1st. So it gives me the departure time, and then it gives me the scheduled departure time. It gives me the departure delay, arrival time, schedule arrival time, and it gives me some other stuff. It says 11 more variables. So you can see the different types. We've got integer, double, character, date and time, double. So it's giving me a lot of different things that I can look at in here. So let's go back to R. Well, let's go back to the book. Okay. Oops. So it gave me what I needed to. Okay. So again, if you want to find out more about the data set, remember, if you go in the book and you click on this, you'll see it. All right. All right. So we talked about this before in the first module. If you need a general refresher on what stuff is, what your variables are, types that's right there. Okay. So now what I can do is if I want to filter and I want to filter, say by I want to look at all the flights that went January 1st of that year, I can copy that code, and I'm going to do this. So I'm going to start a new thing again. I'm going to say flights on, oops. Okay, so I'm going to do again, remember, I start my R markdown and then I copy that code. Oops, I didn't want all of that. So I can just go up here and get rid of all the rest of it. Okay. All right. So, and then I'm going to close it. And again, so what I'm doing, I'm saying filter. So what I'm telling R is, okay, I don't want everything. I want you to give me a subset of the flights data set, excuse me, where the month equals 1 and the day equals 1. Notice that when I'm doing the equal sign, it's not just one equal, it's that double. And we looked at that before when we looked at numbers. Remember, we played with that with the operators. So I need to be careful of that. Okay, so month equals 1, day equals 1. Okay, so then I knit it again. Let's see what that does for me. Oops. Sometimes it makes me save it again, which is kind of weird, but we're just going to save it as something and we'll keep going. Okay. Is it going to work? I'm going to close it and we'll come back out to it. Let's knit it again. Sometimes it gets hung. I think if I change the file, sometimes it gets hung. So. Okay, it's thinking. Oh, it did something. All right, again, I'm going to do my layout is margins narrow so I can look at it better. Okay. So because my thing was so huge, sometimes I won't get to see what it is. So what I can see here is I've got all the first ones. It says, okay, so here, remember I had a ton of data because I can see here it tells me this one had 336,776 rows. All right, here now I can see 842 occurred on January 1st. So that's what that did. It broke it down for me so I could subset it. All right, let's do another one right fast. Let's do it. Let's say I wanted to know December 31st. So I'm going to do flights on December 31st. Right, and then I'm going to do again this. Oops, didn't mean to do that. So then I'm going to do filter, flights, in the parentheses, and then I'm going to do month equals 12, comma, day equals 31st, and then I close it out. Okay, let's run it. Oh, it's doing it. Okay, did it do it? Okay. I think when I'm changing the layout, it's making me make all these new files, which is not good. All right, let's try it again. Run it again. Let's see what it's going to do. It's thinking. All right, I'm going to change it this time. Okay, so if I see here, flights, month 12, day 31, and it shows me there were 776 flights that took off or that were on that day. So I can see here, and let me clean it up a little bit. I wish the layout looked a little bit better. Okay, so if I look here, you can see December 31st, and it tells me the first one and all that. So then I know I had 776 flights that took place on December 31st, right? So that's how you use the filter button.